The Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show is all about promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. If there's a product or initiative you wish to share, feel free to give us a call. The number is 0788 280 9005.
Yeah.
A very warm welcome to all our listeners around the world. You're welcome to the Tony Tukumbo Fernandez Show, promoting the true life and success stories of African and Caribbean achievers around the world. And we have some amazing guests lined up this year in 2023. So much to expect, promoting Africans and Caribbean achievers around the world. And today we're moving all the way to Lagos, mainland Nigeria, where we're going to be speaking to another wonderful gentleman, a Black British role model of Trinidadian descent. And he's been living in Nigeria now for just nearly 2 years. He's also, or was formerly, the head of the Lagos cricket team in Lagos. And he's the founder of BWTM Online, a great community ambassador. Ingram Jones, what a way to start the year once again with you. How are you feeling today?
Excited. The new year had started before the new year started. That is how exciting life is and how good life is. So thank God for that.
Okay, the new year has started before it started. And
Yeah.
we'll come to that in a bit because I think I know what you're talking about. But you now, you are an amazing gentleman, Black British role model, living in Lagos, Nigeria. You've been living there for 2 years, right, at the moment.
Will be February, be 2 years.
February will be 2 years. And
Yes.
what's the whole experience been like so far in the 2 years? And most importantly, what has it taught you about yourself?
So in February 28th, 2021, I flew out to Nigeria, the land of the motherland, as they call it. Everything I'd known about Africa, apart from a lot of my friends, and obviously I've got family members who are Nigerian, but I wasn't that close to them. It was all very much what I'd seen from the media and what I'd been told. So once I landed in Nigeria, I was greeted with a lot of love, as I said, and I felt like a king. I think during the lockdown period, which I left from the UK, then coming to Nigeria, it's like I've had a 2-year experience, but it's almost like I've been reborn, because I've come out here with a whole set of ideas about how life could be or how life should be. And I think if I'd been in America, or I'd been in Europe, or even in the Caribbean, those things probably would have stuck and I'd been okay. But out here in Africa or in Nigeria, I've had to very much make adjustments mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And I believe it has taken me 2 years to live, to work, to see up close and personal the dynamics of living with my wife being Nigerian and living in a community, and then working in the community, not just in sports, but in media as well. It's taught me a lot in a short space of time. There's a lot I've had to take on board. And of course, whereas in England or in America, there are security issues, but the security issues that are here are a little bit more heightened. So everything you do is a lot more, you have to be a lot more aware, which makes you more aware as an individual, not just as you walk the street and being secure, but in how you operate yourselves on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, it's been like almost like a rebirth, because I know eventually when I go back to England, I won't be the same man, and I believe I'm a better, more well-rounded individual now over the 2-year period.
When you talk about rebirth, I mean, specifically talking about rebirth now, were there some specific moments in your past or specific incidents in your past that inspired you to believe that you will one day end up in Nigeria?
If I looked at my life, I posted it the other day on my Facebook page. If I looked at my life, say from 2016, where I met some incredible people, Buff Enterprise, which is the British Urban Film Festival, by a beautiful man, Emmanuel and Oguwesi. I was pronouncing his name wrong, I'm sorry. Him and his wife, Claire, they did the British Urban Film Festival. So meeting them, and they in Nigeria, and I got to meet some wonderful people within the film industry. And then my pastor, my bishop, came to England, and again we went to Ben Television, which was run by a Nigerian television company, which is on Sky TV. And then my barber, being Nigerian, used to often tell me, come to Benin, and you come and see Nigeria for what it is. And I'm like, nah, I'm never gonna. I don't see myself coming to Nigeria. But yet, all that time, my good friends are Nigerian. All that time, I was being prepared to come out to Nigeria. And look, now in 2021, 2023, I would never think now I'm in Nigeria. So I'm 2023, I'm here. I have to believe in that because I'm living here now. So yeah, and it has been a great learning experience, and it's made me have to look deep within and change a lot of the narratives that I was led to believe living in a European country such as England.
I mean, living in Nigeria today, 2 years now, proud of you living there so far, adapting well. What would you say are your proudest achievements in those 2 years living in Nigeria? And at this very, very crucial point in time, how important would you say it is to create legacies in Nigeria today as well?
Hey, listen, in England, I'd created legacy. But being out here, I think being a father, I think that's one thing. I think being head of Lagos State for 2 years and the trophies that were won and the vast development that was achieved during that time, from just as young people playing cricket in a short space of time to be competing with the best players in Lagos and obviously dominating those players that are currently playing for Lagos and being much better than them. I think that's an achievement itself. I never would have thought in Nigeria, of all places, that I'd be meeting the boss, the ICC development global manager in Nigeria. I would have thought I'd met him in England or Australia or somewhere else. But in Nigeria, of all places, you see how God works. I was able to meet with him, Mr. William Glenn, right, and introduce him to the players I was working with. I've been coaching. So that was a great achievement. I think being here, living in Nigeria is an achievement in itself. For as long as I have, because many people would have thought I would have gone home already. And I'll tell you that I was pushed very close at one point to going home. But God is good. And I'm here now, and I think I'm on the other side. And I think the greatest achievement is being able to acknowledge that I am more than I was ever given credit for where I was living before. And here in Nigeria, I've been able to absorb or heal from a lot of the narratives that were put out there while I was living in Europe. And as a Black man, I can not only be proud, you could be proud in a certain kind of way in England, but it's almost like you have to, I won't say the word justify, but when you're putting out to say, yeah, I'm proud of what I am, I'm actually making a stand, whereas out here, it's not about making a stand, it's just doing the work. You know, you're not a second class or third class citizen. You can be a king in your own right, and no one's going to question that or even come up to you and say different or try and tell you different. And it's that kingship that I talked about when we previously interviewed me that I have really stepped into and grown. You know, in England, we're throwing royalty and the king and the queen and all the rest of the royal family, and almost are brainwashed into forgetting our own royalty. But being out here makes you very conscious, or can move you from being a prince, from being a prince to a king in your consciousness. So I think that's something that's when I talk about rebirth, I think that's something that now I can stand on and believe in, and not only believe it, but manifest in it and walk, talk, and manifest in a manner which is not fake or falsely proud, but thanking God for everything, but at the same time speaking with authority that when you say you're going to do something, you do it, and you do it with excellence. And you're thankful and grateful for that.
As you know, environment has and plays a very strong influence wherever we live, on our identity as well. And sometimes, you know, we embrace to new environments. Me, for instance, I've had the opportunity to live to visit 34 countries around the world, and they all have different kinds of energies. Now, today you are living in Ikorodu, and we're here today to promote Ikorodu to the rest of Lagos and to the rest of the world. Now, first and foremost, what makes you so passionate about Ikorodu?
Okay, so let's start. I was born in Hackney, London, and that was Hackney before it became trendy Hackney. It was, when I was growing up, it was ghetto Hackney. So now it's pretty trendy now because the clientele is very much changing Hackney. But there are things growing up as a young boy, or as my grandmother would say, young Master Jones, we'd go through somewhere called Ridley Market. And I always remember the hustling or bustling of Ridley Market, pushing and barging and people screaming and shouting, you know, the market, come and buy this, come and buy that. You know, my grandmother haggling and trying to negotiate for this and negotiate with that to buy, you know, whether it be meat or some vegetables or clothing or whatever she was doing. And I've always been taken as a young boy. And then as I got older and as a man, I would go into the Ridley Market, not so much to go and buy anything. Mainly I would just go there to just go through, walk through the market and enjoy and reminisce and go with my grandmother then when she was still alive to go through the market just to score because she was a lot older. And so much so of that is when I came to Ikorodu, I was met with that, like, and 10 times more of it. So the population of Ikorodu at the moment, as I say, is that the populace for 2023 is 1.2 million people are we in Ikorodu. I'm sure it's probably more than that, but as a rough guess, they've said they've estimated population of 1.2 million people in 2022. It's Nigeria's 12th largest city, and it's the third largest city in the southwest after Lagos and Ibadan. It has a larger population than several other states, the state capitals, including the cities of Ikiti, Ogun, Ondo, and Osun State. So it's pretty big. It's within, I would say, 5 years from now, it will end up becoming a mega city. It's big, and just when you think you know Ikorodu, you go into another area, and then you find it's just like we just the other day was looking for new schools to work in, and we went into another area called Agric, and I thought Agric was just a bus stop and just maybe a little village. When I went, this place went on and on and on, and houses behind houses and village within village, and I'm like, this Ikorodu is so big and it's got so much potential, so much potential. I mean, you'll have to ask more questions about Ikorodu for me to give you more flavor, but it has got so much potential here, for sure.
Now, for the benefit of all our listeners who haven't really ventured into Ikorodu, even those in Lagos and those in other parts of the country, and why not those from other parts of the world, what would you say are the three things which make Ikorodu unique and stand out in Lagos and many regions?
Ikorodu is not trying to be something that it's not. It's village. It's like a village city, probably the village city that's being upgraded. Like, I'm seeing things. I'm seeing more businesses coming into Ikorodu now. I've been here 2 years, and there are parts of Ikorodu when I first came in, there were roads that had massive holes in them, holes I'd never seen in England, holes as if bowls and craters had hit the roads. It was that bad. And now I look at the roads now, and they're just like any road you'll see in England. And I've seen growth and development. I mean, before you would never have thought like something as small as a KFC would never have that in Ikorodu. You would have to go out to the more affluent areas. Now KFC has come to Ikorodu. So they're seeing the vision. They're seeing places like Samsung are now moving shops into Ikorodu. And Ikorodu has had a reputation of being, or still has that reputation for cultism and crime. But anywhere in the world you go, there's that stuff. And of course, anywhere that's got a higher population of people that are in poverty, of course you're going to expect that. But don't be fooled about Ikorodu. There are many actors and actresses and politicians that live within Ikorodu. Even today, I went to an estate, His Glory estate. I went there, and it was when I got to the gate, there was a guy there armed with a gun, like a rifle, and the security is tight there. And if you go in there, it's like you're walking on a street in London. And as you walk in there, you're just seeing people, predominantly Asians. So they're doing business in Nigeria, but you see their houses, lots of wealth, and this is in Ikorodu. So there are places of poverty within Ikorodu, but there are also places that of great wealth in Ikorodu. And it's a great time to invest in Ikorodu. So if you want security and if you want the lifestyle, you can get that in Ikorodu. If you just want to kind of have the humble, modest, you've got that in Ikorodu as well. So it's just where you place yourself. And like anywhere in the world, there is crime, and there is, people who don't have good intentions out there. But that's like anywhere in the world. But if you harp on and focus on the negatives, then you'll only see negative. I mean, I've met people in Nigeria and even within media that will not come to Ikorodu because of reputation. They've never actually ventured into Ikorodu, but say, I'm not going there. The crime. I say, what's going to happen? You come into Ikorodu. What are you going to get attacked? Are you going to? And here's me, the foreigner that's here and living the life here. So, hey, I'm here and I'm enjoying it.
What does that then teach us as people? Because like you said, you're a foreigner living in Ikorodu, and sometimes we have regions, cities, countries around the world which might have these stigmas until we get to visit them.
Yeah, okay, look. So the first question I've been asked, I'm also a co-host on TY television once a week. And also do come on every so often on Silverbird television. And one of the questions I've been asked about, why Ikorodu? I say, why not? I say, we know the island and, Banana Island and Victoria Island. I've seen these places, and yes, it's better. The roads are better, and you have access to certain things. And yes, there's more shops that you've got access to. Yes, I get that, but there's nothing on the island that I've seen that is any better than where I was living in England. Although I was born in London, I lived in West Sussex for a lot of my life. At least the second half of my late 20s, I was living in West Sussex. And just before I came up to Nigeria, I moved from a place called Worthing. I mean, and like I'm a few minutes away from the beach. Everything's nearby, the cinema, the shopping mall, where to eat, the banks. Everything is within a 10-minute walk, everything. And it's a well-to-do, very affluent area. But it's nothing I've seen like that in Lagos. There's nothing I've seen like that all together in one place. So you may have the beach here, you may have a few shops there, but to have it all together, all in one area, no, there's nothing like that even on the island. So when I look and I think to myself, well, why would I want to go out there when I really want to experience Africa and Nigeria at its core? And when I first came to Ikorodu, my sister-in-law said to me, if you want to know what's really going on in Lagos, if you can live in Ikorodu, you can live anywhere. And I get it, and I understand now. I get it. There is surely a difference between those who live in Ikorodu and those who live on the island. And some would say affluence. Well, I would sort of disagree with you there, because like I said, there's some very affluent people who are now leaving the island where there's a lot of flooding and a lot of the areas, and leaving the island, coming to Ikorodu to invest because they're seeing 5 years from now, this is going to be a mega city. So for me, 5 years from now, it'll become a mega city. I think they're building a fourth bridge that will bring, because at the moment, one of the biggest issues with Ikorodu is one road in, one road out, literally. So traffic, if you're caught on that main Ikorodu road, coming in and out of Ikorodu, if you're caught in that traffic there's no way, like in England, there's a motorway, or you can take a side road and kind of get back into where your house is or where you're living. No, it's one road in, one road out. And that's one of the biggest challenges. Now they're going to build a fourth bridge. Once that fourth bridge is built, it will bring in another way of getting into Ikorodu. And that is going to be a fantastic thing for Ikorodu. And of course, more businesses, as I've said, are moving into Ikorodu.
Now, living in Nigeria for the last 2 years now, how have Nigerians warmed up to you in the last 2 years? And also, what would you say is the most important reason to now call it home?
That's a good question, Tony. I can't tie everybody with the same brush, but I will do a generalization in terms of working in Nigeria. Everyone wants things for free or low cost, but you pay for low cost, but expect world-class service. And the lack of I'd say the word appreciation, whereas in England, appraisals, appreciation, whereas in England where you work and you do things to standard, you get that appreciation, you get that appraisal. Not so much so that I've noticed that appreciation is not there. That's one thing I've noticed. How have they warmed to me? Tough one, because I think from the get-go, you come in to Nigeria, you're not speaking the language. So you're not speaking Yoruba or Hausa, or you're not speaking Igbo. You're not speaking those languages. You're not speaking that tongue. So you're from England, or you're from America, so there's an expectation of you, whether it be you've got a lot of money, or you've got a lot of money, you've got status, so there's an automatic expectation of you to give without even just give. Where's my present? Where's my gift? Where's my this? Where's my that? I'm like, in England, people, when they have birthdays, for example, it'd be a case of, well, it's my birthday party, so you come, you celebrate me, you buy me gifts. No, here, and it seems to be well, I can't speak of all Nigeria, but from what I understand, from what I've seen and what I've experienced, is that if it's my birthday party, I provide the food, I provide the drinks. You come and you eat the food and you eat the drink. You drink the drinks. So very different mentality. But it's about expectation. That's what I've noticed. People expect you to be a certain standard and be a certain way and to do things a certain way. So, and I've had to set a tone. So it's leadership. So you have to be professional. So you don't really get to see people on the other side, that sort of friendship, because you're being very professional with them, particularly in a leadership role. So I'd say people have warmed to me, or people have understood where I'm coming from. I think maybe in my third year in Nigeria, things will be different, because people now have seen what I can do, or what I've said I'm going to do. They've seen me do it. They've got trust in me now. So there's trust. And people say, oh, yeah, okay, this guy is the real deal. This guy isn't just going to come and just do what he's going to do and go home like all the rest of the foreigners do. This guy's actually here to live. He's got a family here, and he's put himself out and worked really hard, and he's been invested in, like a place like Ikorodu, where it's more of my own personal investment there, as opposed to me taking and giving of time, and in some places, my own finances as well.
Okay, so we're just wrapping up now. For the benefit of all our listeners around the world today who have never visited Nigeria, be there from any part of the world, who are planning to visit or even planning to relocate, what advice do you have for them?
Make sure that you have good connections here in Nigeria. Make sure wherever you travel, make sure you've got good connections. I would be very, make sure you've got very good connections, people that you can truly trust. And when you come out here, make sure that you can be self-sufficient. You're not relying on the government to provide you a job. It's very different out here. And I would also say, don't expect to be appreciated for too long without having to give something back. That's what I would say out here. It's very different coming from America or from Europe.
And most importantly, why is it very important for people around the world to visit the amazing Nigeria?
It's full of culture. And the one thing I'll say about Nigeria that I can't say about anywhere else in the world, you can truly be. They talk about the American dream. I would stop right there and I'll say, come and understand the Nigerian dream. That you can be whoever you want to be, as long as you're prepared to work for it. You can be whoever you want to be. And there's a freedom here to build for entrepreneurs. It's a great place to learn, to grow, to develop. And I'm speaking from that. There was no way I would say I would have got the opportunities in media that I've got here in Nigeria. So yeah, I'm very grateful to Nigeria. I have met some wonderful people here, and I've got to say that Ikorodu is that underdog, that sleeping dog, that is, or sleeping lion that's going to rise. And the beautiful thing about Ikorodu, it's keeping its culture. It's amazing.
Fantastic. Ikorodu, the melting point of authenticity, and most importantly, let's chase the Nigerian dream. On a very final note, what initiatives have you got lined up that our listeners might be interested in?
Well, very thankful. The UK government are now sponsoring a program that I'm running here called Reduce Crime, Increase Participation, Brighter Futures, and Thrive Online. So it's to combat cybercrime, antisocial behavior, and criminal activity. So that's going across, working in schools and local communities, bringing them together and running programs so they get to do classroom studies, self-confidence, critical thinking, sense of purpose, masculinity, social networks, and then we'll be doing coding for government schools as well. Then they get to play sport as well. The last program I ran, 12 kids were able to win cricket bats, and we were able to give football boots to the winners of the football tournament as well. This year, we're going to be doing setting up Academy, and these young people are going to get the opportunity to grow even further. So shout out to the UK government, shout out to Brighter Futures, Thrive Online, and the RCIP program, which is the Reduce Crime, Increase Participation. You can check that out on Lagos Cricket Academy TV. It's all there that's going on, and I'm thankful once again for the opportunity to be able to continue the work that I'm doing here in Ikorodu.
Lastly, a shout out to Ikorodu.
Absolutely.
Keep up the amazing work you're doing. So lovely to see you once again, and we'll surely catch up soon. And I'm sure our listeners around the world will start to speculate about that Nigerian dream.
Absolutely.
Take care, and God bless you.
God bless you.